Hi, everybody. This is Mumbles, and with me is my husband again, actually.
Hello, it's me again. I'm Nick.
Today we are playing Powerwash Simulator Tomb Raider Edition, and we had done a Tomb Raider podcast maybe like a year ago, 2 years ago.
I think it was like September.
3 years ago? Who can be sure? And so we have all of this stuff that was on the podcast that we thought maybe we could talk about on the YouTube channel while I clean up her manor.
Right, and we did a two-parter, so we have like 2 hours of podcast stuff, so I'm not gonna go that crazy.
No, this is just like fast facts about Tomb Raider, delivered to you by Mumblo's husband.
I also found some fun stuff about the manor.
So
where we are now.
I'm going to clean, and he's going to tell us some facts.
Facts about Tomb Raider. Oh, this is on Powerwash Simulator, which is owned by Square Enix, and they also own Tomb Raider now. Except I think they just sold Tomb Raider, didn't they? I feel like they did. I feel like they just sold Tomb Raider.
Yeah.
So, not sure how much more Tomb Raider they're gonna have.
Yeah, it's really unclear what's going to happen here.
But they got this one, and it was free. And they also did Midgar Final Fantasy VII. And coming soon, depending on when you watch this, is a SpongeBob. You can go clean Bikini Bottom, which is underwater, but it's fine.
I'm thinking we should definitely do a SpongeBob thing of this.
Right.
I don't know. You can go look up facts about SpongeBob.
Well, there's SpongeBob games I can talk about.
We could talk about all of the SpongeBob games, including the Grand Theft Auto one.
Oh, yeah. And the Game Boy Video one, which is just 2 episodes of SpongeBob and Game Boy Advance graphics.
Yikes.
You could just watch them over and over. Because you know how kids love to watch the same thing over and over and over? Hopefully it's one of the 2 episodes of SpongeBob they have.
Okay.
Because they don't have any others.
Let's get into it. Tell me some stuff about Tomb Raider.
Well, since we were going to be cleaning the manor, I was like, let's look up some stuff about the manor, just for fun. So I found a couple some lore, manor lore, and it's kind of silly. I haven't played a lot of the Tomb Raider games. I just read about them. So, the original Croft Manor in Tomb Raider 1... she inherited from her aunt, and she lives there with Winston, her old little butler man.
Who is talking to us in this game, so he's not dead.
He's not dead. And at one point, he does a little thing about, hey, remember that time you locked me in the freezer?
Oh my god.
In one of the later games, which I think is fun. In Tomb Raider Legend, which is the one that was remade by Tomb Raider creator Toby Gard, with his new company after Tomb Raider pooped the bed a little bit. They changed it to it's her dad's house that she grew up in, and they called it Abingdon Estate in Surrey. It even has like an address. And it was gifted to the Croft family by King Edward VI in 1547.
All right.
And then when her dad went missing in Cambodia, they found some bones, but they couldn't be sure it was actually him. So she got into a big legal battle with her uncle.
What the hell?
Because the mom and the uncle, brother and sister, but the mom was supposed to marry another person. And she left for Lara's dad.
Oh my god, this is the plot of Dragon Age 2.
What?
It literally is. This is what happens to Hawk's mom.
Left for... who is still a lord, but not lord
yes!
enough.
This is exactly what fucking happens in Dragon Age 2.
Not fancy enough. So anyway, the mom died, and then... so the brother never forgave the lord.
Oh, okay, it's a little different.
So he's like, I'm keeping this manor for myself. Lara Croft can't have it because you can't be sure that the father's actually dead. Those could be anyone's bones. What if he just comes back?
Right, okay.
Anyway, Lara eventually won the house in the legal battles.
Wow. Thrilling gameplay that must have been.
There was so many notarized letters back and forth. Not joking.
Oh my god.
They wrote letters to each other. Eventually, when she did win the house, he sent her another letter. He's like, I bequeath you your house. It's yours. And if you ever need any help, let me know.
Wow, that is mundane as hell. Okay.
So now she's an 11th generation countess, and she lives there with her tech guy Zip and research assistant Alistair from Dragon Age.
What is happening?
This mansion was destroyed later, spoiler, in Tomb Raider Underworld by Amanda Evert and her Lara Croft clone.
Lara Croft clone?
There's 2 doppelgangers, and one of them kills Alistair. Another spoiler. She looks like, she's like gray. She looks like a zombie version of Lara Croft.
What's wrong with you, Lara Croft? Tomb Raider fucking devs.
And in the mansion of that one, there is a pre-vampire Kane from Legacy of Kane Soul Reaver. He's just on the big portrait on the wall to look like, I don't know, Dukely or whatever.
Okay.
Just because Crystal Dynamics made both those games and Eidos published both of them. So they're like, let's have a little fun thing. And then later in the Tomb Raider 2013 game, the Survivor timeline, that one, Dad died, so Laura left the family, like left the manor completely.
Okay.
And then it started to fall apart, like it flooded, a tree like fell through the manor, through the wall.
Uh-huh.
And Laura's mom's brother, Atlas de Mornay, who's the guy who was mad about everything, said that because the mom had never been found dead, it's still his. They just keep changing it just a little bit to, I don't know why.
Why did they think this was so interesting to the lore?
I don't know. It turns out that the mom died in a plane crash, and with her last moments, she wrote 2 letters, one to her husband Richard and one to her daughter Laura. She's like,
let my scumbag brother take that mansion.
It was like, sorry, I can't watch you grow up. I love you. I died. And then Dad went and found the mom's body.
Okay.
Then got deep into necromancy.
What?
And science to bring her back to life.
No.
Yep.
Don't do that.
And so he ignored Lara Croft because he was just trying to bring his wife back to life. And then he just buried the mom in the Croft family crypt under the building. And eventually Laura found it, and it had the letter to Laura in it, in the crypt. And then she just showed the letter to Atlas de Mornay, and he's like, oh, okay.
She didn't have to fight her, resurrected mom at all?
Nope.
Oh, that's too bad. That's a missed opportunity.
Yeah.
That was literally in BioShock Infinite.
Ah, man, this always happens. There was a rumor that the mom from that timeline was the original Lara Croft because the engagement broke off to the same type of person. Laura's passport in the original game had her full name as Laura Amelia Croft. Her mom was named Amelia. They were both born in the 60s. They had the same personality and complexion, but they had different birthdays, so it's fine.
Oh, okay. Anyway, that was really not as interesting as the devs probably hoped that it was.
Well, they put a lot of work into it. And they had to crunch the entire time, except for the remake. That one sold more Tomb Raiders than all the other ones because they had 6 years to make it, and they didn't have to crunch. They were like, please just make a good game. We only got one more shot at this. We need to make some Tomb Raider money. Anyway, that's all my house lore. Wait, the one from the movie is called Hatfield House, and they also filmed it in Tim Burton's Batman and Charlie and the Chocolate Factory.
It's just a good shooting location for a movie.
Yeah, it's one of the top England locations. They're reopening it to the public in June, so if you're in England, go check out where they filmed Tomb Raider.
But Nick, what was the model of the mansion based off of originally?
They found it in a book.
They did.
No. It was kind of based off where they worked, But the first game, they didn't have the time to actually put the outside of the house in it. So they just used a kind of a picture that looked kind of like the place they were working. Because they worked in a giant mansion just in England. Because that's what you do when you're a British game developer, I guess.
When I was a kid, I was not allowed to play Tomb Raider because it was violent. And
it's a good reason to not to.
I guess. And so I would sneak over to my friend's house and play his Tomb Raider. But I was bad at it. So the only thing I really liked doing was running around the mansion. So my only real memories of Tomb Raider are just hanging out at the mansion.
That's perfect.
Yeah.
Because as soon as you get to the regular game, she shoots a dog.
Shoots a dog and some bears.
And sometimes a guy.
Tigers.
Mostly not guys, though.
Mostly various animals that I would not normally want to shoot.
Right. There's very few animals I would normally want to shoot. And they'd have to be doing really something aggressive.
Right.
But I'm not a Tomb Raider.
Give us some more Tomb Raider facts.
All right,
the most interesting ones you can think of. I'm going to see if we can check out some other areas.
Let's start early on. The head of Core Designs, the guys that made Tomb Raider, just went to a meeting in America and saw the PlayStation super early because they just thought he was a cool guy. And he loved it. And then he went back to England and he was like, I love 3D. We're going to make a 3D game. Everybody in this room, give me a pitch right now. Oh, and you have to see the character on the screen, so no first person, like Doom on PC. That's lame.
Wow.
We want it third person. And this one guy was like, Wonder Pyramids, raiding tombs. And he was like, perfect. In 6 months, when you're done making a 32X racing game that no one will remember, you can make that game. And that extra 6 months, he really could have used it to not have to crunch. Because as soon as he was able to make it, they're like, all right, we only got 8 months of this. Originally, it was going to be a dude, but they didn't want to get sued by Indiana Jones.
Fair.
He was going to call it Lara Cruz, but the American publisher, IDOS, did not care for that.
Because racism?
Well, maybe.
Okay.
Maybe. Also, he didn't know. It was one of the things, they didn't know any South Americans, but they knew British people. And they knew Sherlock Holmes. So
one of my dreams is to go to England and try their Mexican food.
Oh, man.
That's my dream. That's one of my dreams.
It's gonna be like...
It might be all right. There might be some really great Mexican places in England because of all of the hate. Like, no, I'm going to go there and I'm going to make a really cool Mexican restaurant.
I'm going to show them what's up.
But I'm pretty sure if I go to England, I'm going to find some bad Mexican food.
I just keep thinking of Nellie from The Office trying to eat a taco.
Exactly.
And I just imagine it's all like that. Oh, here's one of my favorites. Toby Gard, the guy that designed Lara Croft, he had all these drawings of her before he started making the game. It was his thing.
Right.
And
disgusting.
Maybe inspired by his sister.
So many drawings of his sister.
He was like, well,
yikes.
Both male and female characters liked the design because girls were just happy to finally have a female main character for any game ever.
We didn't care what any of these gals look like. We were just like, cool.
Finally.
A lady that we can play.
It's like, make it like Spice Girls.
All right. Samus is the blonde one. That's Baby Spice. Tomb Raider is Sporty Spice.
That's right. South American-ish.
The chick from Busta Groove is Ginger Spice.
Oh, I love Busta Groove.
I know you do.
One of the things that inspired them was Virtua Fighter, which had 10 characters. Only 2 of them were female, but anytime you go to the arcade, you see one of them is playing as one of the 2 females. So, maybe we should just use a female.
What do you mean?
There were only 2 out of the 10 Virtua Fighter characters were ladies.
Uh-huh.
But when you see people playing it, one of them is always a female.
A chick.
Yeah.
Got it.
So there's statistically, that seems weird, but it's because people want to play as girls.
It's true.
They need some more than 0.
Yep.
One of the other guys at Core saw the early Lara Croft designs, and he was like, she doesn't look like she raids tombs. Here's some Tank Girl comics.
Tank Girl isn't the first person I'd think of for like a Tomb Raider necessarily.
Right. But Tank Girl was cool.
Tank Girl was cool and tough.
So I guess that's what he had. Oh, and that one like single strand of hair that comes down in front of her face. Beauty and the Beast just came out, so.
Oh.
It's like, let's base that off Belle. Just whatever was popular at the time.
Like...
That's why I had Spice Girl, like, cool Britannia stuff. Oh, look, Winston is here.
Perhaps it might be judicious to say a few pertinent points whilst you work.
I've been doing that, Winston. Back in your freezer.
Miss Croft is quite an extraordinary woman. Oh.
Is he texting you this?
He's texting me right now.
Does he not know he's texting you?
He knows I'm texting. He knows he's texting me.
Are we supposed to text him back?
No, we just listen to the things he says. She demands exacting standards, both from herself and from others.
Back in your freezer.
That's a good way to get burnout, but all right.
He should go on a vacation.
If you excel, you'll meet with her generous side. Ooh la la.
The first Tomb Raider was a big problem for people on PlayStation because it had these like save crystals, and they couldn't, like, you couldn't save anywhere like you could on PC. So the PC version was like actually beatable. The PlayStation one was just so hard.
What? Why?
The levels were humongous, and you only get like 2 save points in each level.
Okay.
And so you can only use it once too. So you're like, see it, and you don't know if you want to actually use the save point or not, because you maybe want to like explore a little more and then come back to it,
right?
Get some more stuff. But if you miss, if you miss and you die, then you go back to the beginning of the level.
Oh no!
And it's because they didn't know. PS1 memory card only has like 2 kilobytes of space to save a game.
Right.
And that didn't seem like enough to save a game. But it turns out it actually was.
Oh,
and
no.
In the second Tomb Raider game, you can just save anywhere, and it makes it much more playable.
Oh my gosh.
Ah! The kitty's here. That was scary. Oh, here's a fun one. The PC version of the first Tomb Raider did not have music, because it was on DOS, and it could only apparently run 1 thread at a time, so when it went to read the music off the CD, the whole game would stop for half a second.
Yikes.
So they just disabled it. They eventually patched it, but at first there's just no music.
Oh my gosh.
And there is only 12 minutes of music in the whole game, because that was one thing they really had to cut to get this game out by Christmas.
That's fair.
And so they just had this 12 minutes of music, and they just used tiny little bits of it when something special happened.
Otherwise, it was just quiet caves full of bears?
Yeah.
Oh,
you could hear bear sounds and gunshots.
That's not cinematic.
The thing is, it kind of became a symbol of Tomb Raider games. Like, just, you only have music when there's these really important moments. And the rest of the game is just silence as you're just sitting in this cave all by yourself. It adds to like the isolation, I guess.
Yeah.
And I don't know. It was going pretty well, but they really had to crunch to get this out in time, especially since they had to take that extra 6 minutes to make a Chuck Rock racing game.
Yikes.
And then the boss showed up and he's like, wait a minute, I got a great deal. If we get this out on Saturn in Europe 6 weeks before the PlayStation, can you do this game in 3 months instead of 4.5? And they're like, no. And he's like, yeah, it's a lot of money though. It's a lot of money. And they're like, well, we're 21. We don't have family. We don't have anything. Take a nap and splash some water on your face and get back to it.
Let's roll, boys.
They did it. And then the funniest part is that by having this timed Saturn exclusivity, they had another month and a half to make the PlayStation version the best one. So, like, yeah, they got it on Saturn first, but not good enough. Oh, and they were supposed to put it on N64 too, but Nintendo never sent them a dev kit.
That's so Nintendo.
So they just like, well, let's do exclusivity deal with the PlayStation because that's where it sold best and how it worked best.
Oh my gosh.
They thought they'd only sell like 100,000 copies of it. They sold 7.5 million.
Oh gosh.
It's so... They had this launch party in Egypt with all the magazine editors to like invite them and have a fun time. And they did not invite the developers.
Oh no.
They were working on the translations.
Back to the mines.
But the guy that invented Lara, Toby Gard, he hated the Lad Mag marketing they did for her.
What is Lad Mag marketing?
So you think like Maxim and stuff with like half naked girls on the cover, but not full naked.
Sure.
And then it's like, just you like have beers and love sports. And it's just like for people that you see at like Spring Break MTV back in the early 2000s, like that's their demographic. And he hated that. Like they put like Lara Croft like naked on posters and stuff with like special like things hiding the bits.
He's like, that's my sister you guys are talking about.
Yeah. He's like, I hate this. And then they had like she was the first non-human on The Face magazine, which is a big cool British mag. And she got to be like actually in front of the masthead, which was a huge deal because nobody gets to like get in the way of the words The Face. So that was a big deal for her. But Core did these like royalty-based contracts where you can get as much money from the game as you want, but only as long as you still work there.
Oof.
So you have to like stick out through Tomb Raider 2 to get the money from the first one that you made like 6 months earlier.
Gosh.
And Toby Gard was like, screw that. I'm out of here. Then he just left.
Wow.
Everyone else that he worked with just made millions of dollars, and he's like, I'm going to make a pirate game for Xbox with one other friend. And he was kind of a weirdo, but clearly a genius. So a lot of guys were trying to poach him too, but it just didn't work out. But the ones that stayed, they bought like these silly cars. They were like the big shots. You know how we were talking about like the Mass Effect guys?
Yep.
Versus like everyone else.
Yep,
over
exactly.
there. Like,
yeah.
they were the cool guys.
Oh my goodness.
I was talking about like they had this really old car park next to the giant mansion that everybody worked in.
Yeah.
And you'd see this guy, the little anecdote I heard, it was you get this guy with his butt falling out of his pants, like rolling out of his $400,000 sports car because it's too small, but it's so cool.
God.
And just imagining that is just so great.
Oh my goodness.
Anyway, then they came back and they're like, we got to make Tomb Raider 2. And they're like, all right, you got 8 months. One guy got divorced. Neil Boyd was one of the top guys on Tomb Raider. He was like, I haven't seen you in 2 years. His wife was just like, I haven't seen you for 2 years. Is there another woman? He's like, I wish I had time. The few times he was home, he would just sit on the couch with a beer and ignore his daughter because he was too tired for anything else.
God, that's the nightmare, actually.
Yeah, you have all this money.
That's the nightmare.
It doesn't matter.
That's really what you got to be careful of as like a professional is like you never want to be working so hard for money that you can't enjoy your life. That's really something you got to be worried about. Yeah.
And they did still have fun making Tomb Raider 2 though, because they knew what they were doing now. Mm-hmm. So they were able to stick all the stuff in that they didn't think they were going to have room for in the first one. Mm-hmm. Like Winston the Butler, and they had a final shootout at the mansion, and they had like a dragon that you fight.
Wow, my game just keeps on like stuttering. That's so funny. Look at that.
Wow. Anyway, they got They got vehicles. They got outdoors places. They got the ponytail to move. They were so happy that they could make this ponytail move.
That was a big deal.
In the first game, it just kind of like flopped everywhere. It didn't have physics.
That was a huge deal.
It was so... They were so happy they could get that done.
I didn't even care about Tomb Raider, but I remember... I think I was watching my brother play it, and then he's just like, look, the hair can move. And I was just like, yep.
It's nice that someone noticed. The first Tomb Raider, you could just only jump at certain points in your run. So everything was like
Zelda.
Yeah, everything was like a little puzzle. Like, you know exactly how far you can jump, how high you can jump. If you do a running jump, you can jump this far. If you do a sidestep jump, you can jump this far.
Sure.
But in the second one, they made it so you could jump any point in your run animation. So it made it feel a lot better. And it didn't have that, like, really precise, like, step to the side, take a step back, go as far back as you can, run and jump at the last second. Just made it. Like, it didn't have that anymore. It was just nicer. But then Tomb Raider 2 came out. Everyone took 6 weeks off. Came back just richer than they'd ever been before. Then, as soon as they come back, they're like, all right, you got 8 months to make Tomb Raider 3.
Oh, God.
And they're like, can we have just, like, make some Tomb Raider, like, 2.5, like, DLC expansion something while we work on a PS2 game? And us was like, nope, we need the annual Lara Croft money. We're used to it now. So 6 members of the team quit on the same day. And they went to go work on another game that flopped called Project Eden for the PS2. And they kind of helped the new team to make Tomb Raider 3. So this new team immediately hopped in and gets to do all the crunch these other guys have been doing for 2 years. And it was like, just working on Tomb Raider was like really prestigious. So people wanted to do it, even though it burned them out so fast. They make so much money so fast, and then they're just sad forever. Most of the people that worked on Tomb Raider don't even make games anymore. Like, they're just like,
That's enough.
Out of here. And all the other, like, IDOS games that came out, like Fighting Force or Hurdy-Gurdy, like, no one cared about any of those. It's not Tomb Raider. They basically had this one franchise supporting the entire company. And so the people that weren't working on it felt like losers, and the people that were working on it felt tired. Then they just kept bringing out new games. They got Chronicles, which was just, like, B-roll footage of the other ones, and they got Last Revelation, which is the one they tried to kill Laura, but then they had to change their mind at the last second because the boss found out. It's like, what are you doing? They're like, we hate her. So they still were able to...
She's ruining my life!
They were still able to keep the, like, death cutscene, but they did have her, like, come out a little bit at the end to make it, like, ambiguous.
What's some of your favorite things about the Tomb Raider franchise?
I like the like feeling of isolation a lot of times, because it's just you in this cave, and yeah, sometimes there's a bat or a bear or a velociraptor, but a lot of times it's just you, like, kind of exploring this cave. It, like, really feels like you're tomb raiding.
Right.
Like, you're just spelunking, and you don't have anything to, like, rely on besides yourself. And I think that's pretty neat. And the sparse music really works for me. Because when it does come out, it's only because there's something special happening. Or, like, it'll start, like, a battle song, and you're like, uh-oh, it's time to fight.
I feel like Silent Hill 2 did that too, where sometimes it was just very quiet, and then they would, like, start up music and stuff.
How about you? Any things about Tomb Raider that you like?
It was just the experience of, like, sneaking over to my friend's house and hanging out and playing games I wasn't allowed to play. I think that's the kind of the only thing I really liked about Tomb Raider. I also did not care for the marketing when I was young. I could tell it was very, like, male-gazy, and, like, it very much felt like Tomb Raider was not for girls. It was actually for boys, if that makes sense.
Yep.
And I didn't like that about it. And I know that, you know, it's changed, and a lot of girls have come out and said that they they idolize Lara Croft and she inspired them to get into games and stuff. But me as a girl, I was just like, I'm pretty sure this isn't for me, actually. Like, and also Lara Croft isn't even the best version of like Tomb Raiding. Like The Mummy and The Mummy 2 are actually better Tomb Raider type of like media, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
And as far as I could tell, Tomb Raider didn't really care about history or lore or anything like that. And on top of it, once Assassin's Creed came out, which actually cared a lot about history, even if it purposely got some stuff wrong, like why even bother with Tomb Raider? You have Assassin's Creed. Why would you even bother?
Mm-hmm.
You can like literally take a step back into time. So yeah.
But that was pretty fun.
Well, thanks for joining us while we're playing Power Wash Simulator and you telling us all about Tomb Raider. I hope everybody enjoyed Nick's little facts. He researches a lot, so you should definitely check out our podcast, the Indian Retro Podcast. Our next season is starting soon, and we're starting with something very near and dear to my heart.
Yeah, and it's going to be a good one too.